Tales from the Tavern was recorded in front of a live Twitch audience. Hello everybody, we are back with another episode of Tales from the Tavern. It is super great to see you all after the holiday break. And first episode back for the new year. So welcome everybody. I'm really glad to have you all with us. One of our guests had a last minute emergency right as we were hopping on our call tonight. So you will see a lovely picture of Steve the baby dragon playing with his giant D20 in the lower corner. So unfortunately there's only 4 of us tonight, but that's okay because if the conversation we were having in the green screen is any indication of how tonight is going to go, I think we're going to have a lot of fun. So, without further ado, I am going to give everyone a chance here to introduce themselves so you all know who they are. We're going to start with Daryl and work our way around. So, Daryl, tell us a little about who you are.
Hello. Sorry. I looked over at Jess and immediately started laughing because I do that every single time I get that. Hi, I'm Daryl. I'm Daryl Dorsey. You can follow me at Mr._Daryl Dorsey on Insta and Twitter. I like to play video games. I like to tell stories. I like to work out. And hopefully I'll get some cool questions tonight.
Hopefully. That's the goal anyway. Jess.
Hi friends, I'm Jess. I'm Jess the Human on most of the social medias, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and now TikTok. As you can tell, Daryl and I are just best buds, and you're definitely going to hear him dunk on me a couple times throughout the evening. But I'm super excited to be here and hang out with y'all.
Awesome. I'm excited to finally get to have you on. We've had this in the works for a while.
Yeah.
Justin.
Yes, indeed. I am Justin, or as my name would show, Justin Mullen. I am the GM and founder over at One Bad Roll. And we were lucky enough to come across that name. We do different TTRPG streams, and we start each new campaign with a game of Fiasco, which is a nice little icebreaker idea. But I'm looking forward to answering questions and getting weird.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Thank you for coming on tonight. It's nice to meet you. And Wayne, tell us a little about you.
I'm Wayne Davis. Role-Playing History is the name of the podcast. Get it wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter at RoleplayingP. Been playing games for 40 years. A lot of tabletops, video games. God, if the conversation we were having before this is any indication, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. So
I think it will be great. Well, thank you all so much for coming to hang out and talk TTRPG. If you're joining the stream for the first time, let me tell you a little about how it works. Basically, we take all of our questions from chat. So if you have a question that you would like to pose to our panel here, feel free to just drop that right into the chat. I have moderators. Moderators are standing by, and they will make sure that they get your question to us so we can talk it over and discuss it and all that good stuff. So without further ado, I'm going to start us off with a good little icebreaker question, and that question is one that I ask pretty much all the first timers on this stream. So the question is, do your dice have to match?
Yes. Oh my god, yes. I can't do not matching dice. Oh
Me
boy.
too.
I
Ooh,
refuse to have
stresses
a
me.
match.
You refuse?
I refuse. In fact, when I bought dice, I got a big old bag, and I could have got matching dice, but I didn't.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I have sets that match, but I don't care when I've got them out that they match. As long as they're all turned over to ones, so that we get all the bad juju out of it. I don't care whether they match or not.
I charge ones too.
I
Charge 20s.
No charging. I pick dice based off of what do I want to use tonight, and none of them match. Not a single one to another.
So I have certain favorites, like favorite sets. So I usually always play my metal die because my D20 for that one rolls particularly well. And then after that, I choose which set depending on what character I'm playing that day, because different ones I imagine in different color palettes, and that's how I separate them. But like each of these D10s that I just happen to have out on my desk, each is from a different set, but they do have a matching the matching D100 with it, and I just dropped one.
Oh no.
Okay, but what did you roll?
Those were all D10s. So if we're going, ooh, that's a crit. Let's see, if this is a game of vampire, let's see. Pass, fail, 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 pass. Oh, that's a lot of crits.
Well, you will not be the Blood Light tonight. That's somebody else will have to drink. So.
Oh boy.
That was a bunch of messy criticals right there.
Yeah, I am very much my dice have to match, and they're usually, I haven't played at a physical table since like before COVID. Like most people probably haven't played at a physical table since like COVID really started, but my group sort of fell apart not fell apart, but like scheduling and whatever, since a few months prior to COVID. And yet during the course of COVID, my dice collection grew exponentially because Kickstarter is a thing. And so usually I would like pick out one new set of dice, like, per character or something like that. And now I'm just like, these look good tonight. But I'm the type of person that, like, if my D20 starts rolling bad, I have to get rid of the whole set and I have to start over with a completely different set. So they have to match.
Oh, I have like 5 D20s ready, just in case that happens.
Yeah.
And if it rolls bad long enough, we're doing a sacrifice. I'm getting out the sledgehammer and gonna find a copy of the original D&D movie, and yes, we're smashing everything to bits, burning it, and forgetting it ever happened. I'm just saying. And then
I just
of course,
keep on rolling.
I take one sliver out of the smash and I throw it in the bag as a lesson to the rest of them that this will happen to you. Great.
Oh my god, note to self, don't get on your bad side.
Right? Jeez.
No, I'm a teddy bear. I'm just brutal to my dice. That's all.
Yeah, just don't be a bad dice, Jess. Just don't be a bad die.
Oh goodness.
I mean, recently we've been doing this to get a die ready. Let me get him up close. So
Oh, I like that.
So, yeah, we're prepping one.
I finally acquired. He's now serving as my dice guardian. My gem dragon, if you can see him.
Absolutely.
So he actually sits on the bookcase right behind me, but I have a pile of dice that hang out back there. So he's basically serving as my dice guardian. Yeah, that's a new one. My dice guardian now. So yeah, I'll take that.
I know, Dragon rules. Your dice are his hoard.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I share my dice and my dragon hoard. I have hoards of both because I collect dragon stuff. So, yeah. So it kind of works out. All right, we've started getting some questions in from chat, so we're gonna dive right into some of those. Chat too. One thing that I did forget to mention is if you have been hanging out for a while and you have channel points available to you, you can use the Ask My Question Next for 1,000 channel points. You can have your question bumped up to the next one in the queue. That's available 3 times a night. So we try to make sure other people get to use it. Don't everybody jump in and use it. Try to use it because there's only 3 available. But the first question that we got is from Cottage Corner Cafe, and the question is, have any of you played Mutants and Masterminds?
I have not. I have not.
I have not. I've heard of it, though.
Almost. I was going to be in a game, but then scheduling didn't work. But I've looked at the book.
It's probably been 14, 15 years ago. But yeah, I played. My buddy Jim is a collector of many different systems. He's never found the perfect system that he likes. But yeah, we did a superhero game based off of Mutants and Masterminds. It went well till we all burned out and decided it was time to move on to something else. So
I have not played. That was actually the first time I've ever heard of it as
Same.
well.
Same.
It's a good system, as I remember. Obviously it gives you the opportunity to create, your superhero in the vein of Marvel or DC or Dark Horse or whatever you like, without being tied to it through, or instead of like the Marvel branded or the DC branded game. So if you can think of a mutant or a superhero that you want to play, the rules will allow for it. Sometimes it takes a little tweaking.
Okay.
All right.
So a super soldier. Gotcha.
Which reminds me, now I need to add that to the list to talk about on the podcast. So
yeah, I inevitably end up with a list of games I want to try at the end of a lot of these streams. So yeah, my list is ever growing. Zeal Zaddy has a question. This is really for those of you who stream, but I guess maybe when you're podcasting too, I don't really know. What gives you the best feeling when you're streaming, both as a DM and a cast member?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, I can easily answer from the DMing side because I DM more than I play. I like it when either this goes with chat or players hit something dead on of what the plan was on your side, or are so far off that you want to die of laughter, but you hold it in. It's those extreme moments where it's like, how did you figure? No, I dropped one clue. I dropped a single clue, and you know where to go. How? Or you've dropped like 5, you think it's covered, and then all of a sudden they're going in the opposite direction, and it's okay, never mind.
I would say for me, I haven't DM'd any D&D games in a while, but I am a storyteller for a podcast that I pulled Jess into because we do everything together now. Anytime I'm a storyteller for that particular game, which it's Fan Game Podcast, I'll put it in the chat. Anytime they have fun, that's what it is for me as a DM. Because honestly, as a DM or storyteller, I do very little actual planning for a session beyond a few bullet points that I know I want to hit. Because I know that players can be little chaos gremlins and will go so far away from what I had planned. So this is part of the reason why I have a hard time doing one-shots, because I need to world build just in case they go off the rails. So I'm like, if they go to this town, I know what could be waiting for them there and what's happening over here. As a player, I could tell you the proudest moment I had as a player, because it was fairly recently. I almost got a few people to start crying by something I did in character.
Oh, wow.
Did you repeat the question?
Sure. The question is, what gives you the best feeling when you're streaming, both as a DM and a cast member?
So I've never been a game master of any sort, streamed. But I think one of the best feelings for me is when you're getting like the 3, 2, 1, and you know you're going to be live as soon as they say 1. I used to get butterflies because I would just get so like anxious and nervous, and that has since just gone away. And now I'm just like, heck yeah, this is so exciting. I'm so freaking ready. And then on the other side, when we're ending, knowing like, oh my God, I've just been left on like the biggest cliffhanger. I do not want to stop. Like, can't we just stream for a little bit longer?
Yeah.
Can we continue playing off stream? Those are like my 2 favorite feelings.
I think I would have to agree on the cliffhanger thing, but that's as a player. Like, when you're left with something to chew on, it's the best.
Yeah, as a player, I really love when the session is over and I'm still like, you know, if I play on Saturday and Wednesday, I'm still thinking about it. That for me, like streamed or not, that's such a great feeling.
And can I tell you, because I've never actually played a stream, but from the perspective of a viewer, that's the other thing too. It's when it's like a great TV show or a movie, and it's on that cliffhanger, and it's like, damn it, I cannot miss the next stream. I have got to make sure. When you've got something like that, that's the best. That and realizing that, oh my God, all these other people are just as goofy as me and my friends are when we play. It's a relief. It makes me want to watch it more, because it's like, okay, all right, my friends are not the only ones that play like this. Everybody else does too. So
when I watch games, I like, you know, I listen to and I take in a lot of TTRPG content, mostly podcasts because, you know, like commuting to work and stuff like that. But I find that there are 2 styles that I really gravitate to. Either the ones that just feel like a group of people, like getting together and having a good time. Like I'm sort of eavesdropping on somebody's session, like with their group of friends. Those I always take a lot of enjoyment from, because like I might think of the same joke a split second before somebody else says it, or, you know, something like that. But then also the ones that are so like focused and intense, I like those too, because they're so different than how I play as a player, and I feel like I learn a lot from listening to them. So, yeah.
I like that.
I think from the player perspective, it all depends on what character I'm playing that day as well. Because goals tend to change depending on how you view that character. So what you come away with from the session can also just highly be character driven.
Completely. Like, I know another thing from the streaming perspective. When I'm running a game for stream, I don't worry about the chat or the viewers.
Yeah.
Because I can't gauge reactions based off of what little interaction there is there. I gauge it off of how the players are enjoying it.
Right.
I think you kind of have to do that, though. I mean, you know, if we're running, at the end of the day, you're still running a game. You're streaming, but you're running a game. If you're not engaged and your players aren't engaged, what the hell are we doing? I mean, because that's going to definitely show.
And I think to that point too, if you and your players aren't engaged, your chat will never be engaged.
100%.
Well, yeah, and not to mention the fact if I'm watching and it looks like you're bored, it's just like I am when I'm watching TV. On to the next. What else is there? So
yeah, I agree. All right, let's see. Mandalorian came in with a question, and this one I always love because this is the one where I tend to learn about a lot of systems. What's a TTRPG you've always wanted to play, or one you want to play more of?
I want to play so much Crash Pandas. I've only played it one time, but good God, I love being a freaking raccoon, being wild and driving a car with other raccoons. It's so much fun.
Yeah, Crash Pandas is up there.
I was supposed to play in that, and I don't think I did.
I've actually
You
never
know for a
played
fact you did. Oh, Luna, you've got to change it. Write
I
that down. Move it to the
Yes.
top of your list.
I want to play it.
Oh.
It just hasn't ever, like, come up when I've been available. So,
For me, I want to play Call of Cthulhu.
yeah.
Just because I like things where people could just be horrible. And I mean that in a way of like just doing terrible things in the game, not being horrible people, but just like, this is not a game for the faint of heart type of games. And as far as sessions, things I want to play more of, more World of Darkness stuff, just because I like that it's based in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so much less world building for me as a storyteller when I could just look up an actual Google Maps and be like, yeah, you go here.
Yeah.
I can definitely agree with jumping in on more World of Darkness would be a blast because I used to play it much more, but now that I don't play as much, a lot of that has dropped. And World of Darkness can get messed up, but in a way that fantasy doesn't.
Yeah.
Because in fantasy, you can always make that have that separation.
Mm-hmm.
But in World of Darkness, it's like, no, that could realistically happen. I don't like that.
Yeah.
A game that I want to play, I haven't actually gotten to play it, but there's a Pokemon Tabletop United. I don't know if it was official release or if it was just fan creation. But really interesting looking system, and like went through many stages of development.
It was I actually was researching a little while back doing because I did an episode about games for kiddos. The Pokemon that's a fan deal for free, but I forget the website off the top of my head. But yeah, that looked interesting. The one that I want to run a little more of is Paranoia, just because I've got players in my group that have never played it, and I think just that first look on their face of that holy crap moment, and then. For a one shot, I'd love to run Toon, just because the opportunity to be a flippin' cartoon and just all the goofiness that goes on with that. So,
And also for a final little throw, for anyone who hasn't played much, but they've played like one or two systems, Numenera is also a good one if you have someone who knows how to run it.
I've seen Numenera played. It was really neat.
but that's one of those. If the person who knows, if you've got, like you said, if you've got a person who knows how to run it, it's a thing of beauty. If you've got somebody that's not sure how to run it, it can get god awful real fast. So
Yeah, no, it definitely hinges on that.
I just played a one-shot of a system called Mothership the other day, and it's a really like small D10 system, and I was just introduced to it by the GM who we ran it with, and it's designed to be like a sci-fi space horror system, which is so far outside of the realm of anything that I typically play, and so I was like, yeah, I'm absolutely in. I would love to give it a try. And I ended up really loving it, both because like the genre was different for me, but also like just the system was very easy to pick up. Like it looked a little confusing at first, but excuse me. But once we got into it, it was really easy and fun.
One that I haven't played is Kids on Bikes. Kids on Bikes, Kids on Brooms. I really want to play that. It all looks so fun. So if you're out there and you want me for a one-shot, I'm available.
Yeah,
I
I've
tried
heard
my
good things
hand
about
at
that
that,
one too.
Just being a child on a bike running from monsters.
Sounds
Or-
like fun.
Or a child on a broom doing wizard stuff.
There's another
Sounds
one
like so much fun.
There's another one that I saw when I was doing research. It's Goblin Quest, but it has variation on it because you're supposed to play like 5 goblins, but it's in succession because it's supposed to be like a task that you fail. One of the variations is instead of 5 goblins, you play 5 Sean Beans, and the goal is to survive the movie.
Oh my
I want to play
gosh!
just so I
Yes.
can do that.
That sounds so fun.
Yeah, I think you can. I think the rules are like $10 or $12 you get on Amazon. Like I said, I was researching it for the podcast a couple weeks ago. And as soon as I saw that, I'm like, just to do the Sean Bean thing, it would be worth every stinking penny. And it's
That's a
another one of
dream
those
one-shot.
GM-less games, so everybody can just play.
Yeah.
So
That type of game is both a blessing and a curse for someone like me who always tries to make sure that they are the one that survives, especially a game where it's like, oh, it's easy to die here. I'm just like, what am I going to do to survive, and who will I have to sacrifice ultimately? Which Sean Bean is going to get it worst here? Which death are you getting? You getting a satellite dropped on you, getting drawn and quartered, you getting beheaded? What's going on?
I was gonna say he's been killed so many different ways. You have your choices.
Right.
And if you're going to do that, I
get
think
shot in the face
everyone
while
should
we-
pick an actual Sean Bean character that already exists,
Oh my gosh.
and you're all in the same place.
Well, you could always take reality too, because he got stabbed at a bar fight one night. Instead of going to the hospital, turned around and got another beer. So I mean,
Oh my
what do you
God.
want?
I mean, he won the fight,
Obviously.
and
Hands
also sewed himself up at the bar. I
Right.
remember that story. He was
Right.
like, no, just get me another drink and some needle and thread. I'll be fine.
Right. Hashtag badass. I mean, just move on.
Right.
It's like, and you're the one
Jeez.
they choose to have die every time?
He said in an interview one time, actually, because somebody asked him about it, and he's like, but they keep paying me to do it.
I mean, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Keep the checks coming.
Right. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Well, and his checks tend to have quite a few zeros and at least 1 comma, if not more. So, let's go with that.
He didn't die in National Treasure. He did not die in National Treasure.
It's
He
true.
he got arrested.
Are they making another one? Because if they are, there's still time.
The third one, he comes back and he dies immediately in the first scene while
Yeah,
he's
right.
in prison.
Well, I think Nick Cage is more the drive on that one. I mean, where is he and what is he doing and what is he on, and can we get him off of it so that we can, get him back to making movies?
He's in a new movie coming out soon where he literally plays himself.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I saw the trailer for that.
Yep.
I'm gonna go see it.
He's actually starting to become his own meme, and it's like he doesn't care. It's like, yeah, I'm my own. I'm Nick Cage. I'm my own meme. Who cares?
Right.
He's
I
getting
agree,
paid to
man.
do it.
I mean,
I
when-
made my money back. I'm no longer like bankrupt anymore, so I can just do what I want now.
I was gonna say, you make that kind of money, it really doesn't matter anymore.
Well, let's be honest. If any of us made that kind of money, would be. Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean,
Hey, if I got paid that kind of money to do something like this, I would be like, sure, make all the memes you want, have fun.
I'd get real weird with it.
What I'm
I'd
thinking-
ask for an explanation, but I'm not sure I want it. So,
What I'm saying is, if you're out there and you want to pay us a lot of money to make a meme out of us, please do so.
Yeah, I'm down.
no shame in
Yeah.
my game.
I endorse that message.
I got a grandson that I want to build a college fund for, so yeah, I'll gladly do it.
Perfect. All
So
right.
here's my writer.
Let's see. So Jim the Dim had a question for everybody. He goes by the Dimpire now on Twitch. It's kind of the same thing. Excuse me. I have a piece of fuzz from my sweater stuck in my throat. So his question was, which system have you most been wanting to play but have never gotten to at all? So I know.
Pendragon.
Yep.
Pendragon. That's the one. That's the one I want to play the most. And that's the one that myself and the other GM in my group we keep dancing around it. But it's like, damn, it's heavy. I mean, you really, if you're gonna run that, you're gonna take a lot of time setting it up, and then. So yeah, that's the one that most of my group wants to play. We just can't pull the trigger on doing it.
Scheduling is a real thing.
Well, especially
Werewolf the Apocalypse. Werewolf the Apocalypse is one I really want to play. So because I see myself as more of a werewolf than a vampire. Team like and all day.
I want to be in that game with Daryl.
I mean, it
At
sounds
this point,
fun.
it's a rule now, isn't it? That they just have to be in the same game as me every time.
And vice versa.
I mean, I'd probably kill your character immediately.
Wow. I have not gotten around to playing Pathfinder, and I know it's very similar to D&D, but with more math. I want to give it a try. I want to test my math abilities more than they're already tested in D&D, and just be able to say I did it, or if I really like it, continue playing.
I would like to try second edition. I played first edition for a couple of years, and that was really fun for me. Speaking of how similar it is to D&D, because when I first started playing TTRPGs, I started with D&D 3.5, and Pathfinder first edition is like almost a copy pasta. So
yeah, the joke was when Pathfinder was being created is they were creating D&D 3.75.
Yeah,
that was
pretty much.
That was the inter-team joke when they were doing that. I want to look at Pathfinder second edition just because I've seen a lot of love and I've seen a lot of hate. I want to find out, what's the deal? What's got people so pissed off or so whatever? So,
I just really want to play 4th edition. I hear it gets a bad rep. I can't get through that.
No, on the Pathfinder train, the mathing makes a lot of sense. I know because I basically played a math wizard in Pathfinder First Edition, who was built to build things.
oh my goodness.
He was an egotistical 14-year-old elf who was kicked out of his house. The highest I ever rolled was 47 on a check.
Wow.
I made a tent.
it sounds like he made a moo-moo maybe. That kind of roll for a tent, no.
It was mobile. It had its own structure. It was lightweight. It was the best tent you could get. There was like 30 people who could fit in it.
So it was a glamping tent, essentially.
100%.
It had a generator.
Effectively, it was supposed to be a survival campaign. We
Nice
get
hot
out of the
plate.
first bit, and then I'm like, cool. I'm gonna make tents. I roll a 47 after using my spells to boost my roll. And I'm just like, there you go.
You had like Wi-Fi and satellite and room service. Hey, you're good.
Had a trailer attachment to put it on the truck.
Oh yeah.
Being called a coward in the chat right now. Thanks, Mana.
Anybody else have a system they really want to try?
I have obscure systems I've tried, but nothing that I'm dying to try because I've played in a lot of systems. So
Mostly just the ones I named. Really want to do just Werewolf and obviously really Call of Cthulhu.
You will love Werewolf if you enjoy Vampire at all.
Yeah.
I mean, because I love Vampire, And for the brief time that we were doing the werewolf campaign, I was really digging it. I was hesitant at first because we were supposed to do a vampire game, but yeah, it's just like it's the pack tactic. It's working as a team and having to work as a team to make it happen. So yeah, I dug it.
I just really enjoy the dichotomy because I'm a big lore person. So like when I get into something, I'll read like as much lore as I possibly can. I just love the idea that the vampires truly believe that they're at war with werewolves. And the werewolves are just like, you guys just annoy us and you come around at the wrong time, so we just kill you. Just like, if you left us alone, for the most part, we wouldn't do anything for you. Oh, thanks, Mana.
I am... There's always so many systems that I want to try. I'm always like, oh yeah, I want to play Shadowrun, and I want to play Call of Cthulhu, and I want to play, this thing and that thing and the other thing. So I guess right now the one that I haven't played that I'm the most looking forward to is I'm going to be playing Mouse Ritter in a one-shot in in another week and a half or something. So I'm pretty excited about that. So that should be a good time.
Shadowrun is another one of those. If your game master gets the rules and knows what they're doing, it can be a beautiful game. But if somebody like me who hasn't run it very much is trying to run it for you, yeah, it's going to be a slog and you might get miserable. So it's just something to take into account.
Oh yeah, fortunately I already have a DM for it and he's played it a ton. So that much I am happy about.
I was lucky enough to be in a game group where the DM had so many different things that he knew in books that he had, where I've played in a whole bunch of stuff. So like even with Call of Cthulhu, in the Call of Cthulhu campaign I was part of, I basically played Super Dad. So I was a single almost stay-at-home dad whose best skill was climbing. It was to the point where he was like a world-famous mountain climber, and that's how he made his money.
Oh, wow.
So I started off with 95 in climb.
Not only are you going to climb, you're going to make it look good.
Yeah, so like his whole thing was he never used safety harnesses or ropes or anything, no matter what he was climbing. He just scaled up.
Hey, Tom Cruise.
Just full Tom Cruise. I was going to say full Tom Cruise from Mission Impossible 2.
Yep.
Oh, you mean the Tom Cruise movie where he plays the cocky young guy? Gotcha.
The one that was obviously directed by John Woo. Just like there's freaking doves everywhere. I don't think they're indigenous to this country.
Yeah, well, yeah, John Woo has his thing. J.J. Abrams has the lens flare. Come on, you can tell it.
Oh, Star Trek. I was blind.
I didn't say anything. He knew where I was going. I didn't have to say it.
I went blind in that movie.
Force Awakens had lens flares if you were looking.
Hey, I'm on the Michael Bay train with unnecessary explosions.
And a low swoop with a telephoto lens.
Yep.
And then, of course, the American flag in the background and the eagle.
Oh, I get all of that. My favorite movie is Armageddon. I get all of that.
Armageddon, where they trained,
Yep.
where instead of just getting astronauts to...
That was the Affleck quote where he said, "I went to Bay," and I'm like, "Wouldn't it just be easier to teach astronauts how to mine?" And he goes, "Bay told me to fuck off and get back where to doing what I was doing." There you go.
Yep.
It makes no sense. Hey, let's get these miners to go to space.
Right.
But why?
That's why I love it so much. It's such a bass-ackwards plot.
Okay, so this is going to sound like I'm yanking this one out of left field, but it's the God's honest truth. I have a cousin who was an astronaut and actually went into space a couple times. And I actually threw that question at her. She's like, yeah, it'd be faster to just teach us how to do the mining as opposed to try to... She's like, there's no way you'd have these guys ready to go to space in the amount of time. No, would never happen. They'd be dead in 30 seconds.
Exactly.
So there you go.
no way you're going to remember all the things you need to do. On top of the fact that I've been a miner for the past 30 years and I've been an astronaut for 3 weeks. I remember everything.
I mean, and I'm not trying to say that mining is easy by any stretch of the imagination. Nobody's trying to say that. It's just there's levels of complex.
Also, it's mainly on Earth and not on a damn asteroid.
Ding.
As you can tell, we have a lot of hard feelings about Armageddon.
And I've heard them all before, and I agree with them. It's still my
favorite. The year that came out on video, that was the gift. Like, everybody in my family, when we were doing our gift exchange, I swear to God, there were 12 flippin' copies of Armageddon. Everybody bought everybody a copy.
That's amazing.
I've been getting everyone the same copy of Transformers for the past 15 years. No.
Amazing. All right, so we had a question from Search Monkey come in, and the question is, if you're playing in a random matchup, this is kind of a long one, so bear with me. If you're playing in a random matchup group for a short session, like a short adventure, like 2 to 3 sessions, what are your thoughts on dropping a really dark bombshell during your epilogue of dark deeds you did unbeknownst to them during the game? That would affect their world. Do you think it would tick the team off, or would they enjoy the plot twist? Keep in mind this is a random group and they haven't been very vocal on tone in the planning session.
I think it just kind of depends on the people that you're in there with. You know, I mean, some people are going to be like, oh, yeah, that's amazing. But then there are going to be other people that are like, oh my God, who the heck invited this person? Why did they do that? This ruins everything. Personally, I don't think that I would do that. But I also don't play in a lot of 2 to 3 shotters. I typically do like 1 shots with random people that I haven't met before. So maybe I'll try it and see if they invite me back for another 1 shot.
Just play the stereotypical rogue that just has a super dark past.
I think it depends. I think it depends on the people is a good base, but I think you can also gauge out based off the system or the setting you're playing as well.
Right.
Because even though you haven't discussed tone, there would be a difference between dropping, oh, I murdered my family and everyone I knew in a Kids on Bikes game versus a Curse of Strahd game.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that's a good way to tell.
What I'm hearing is when I do eventually play Kids on Bike, that's the bombshell that I'm going to drop.
Hey.
So now the rest of us can't play it with you because we know that's coming.
Oh man.
Well, Jess, I already proposed that maybe we do a Kids on Bike game in the same universe as our Vampire the Masquerade game, where one of the vampires that you guys run into is the big bad for these kids, and maybe the kid was secretly just messed up the entire time, or got dominated into doing some terrible things.
It's all coming together. I love this.
Well, Jess, see, if you're going to push it that far, you may as well take it one step farther, and just have your big bombshell be that you murdered someone else's family in the group.
Oh!
Oh my God, this is incredible.
Just get full-blown Pennywise. Just like, no, it possessed me, and I came in there with a switchblade.
This is chef's kiss. Thanks, y'all.
Yeah.
I would also say that it would probably depend on the group, and as you're playing, if they haven't been super indicative of what the tone is like now, you will probably start to figure that out in the first session, and after that you may figure out whether or not it's appropriate to drop a bombshell that may or may not be too dark for the group that you're playing with. That's probably how I would handle it.
I'm going to come from it from the angle of, you know, after a couple sessions, do you want to play with these folks again? Because if you don't want to play with those folks again, who cares? Do what you want. If you want to play with these folks again and you care what these folks think about you, then yeah, you need to have paid attention to what was going on and read the room. But I mean, yeah, if you're just like, I don't think I ever want to play, then go wild, because if they hate you and don't want to game with you, you did what you wanted. But then again, they might also pick yourself up a reputation for being that person. So,
Right.
Tread lightly.
But I have different characters for different moments. We were talking before we got onto the stream. My favorite alignment to play is Lawful Evil, because I like to play that I'm going to do what it takes, but within the realm of I'm not going to screw anyone over. And one of my characters is a hired assassin. Now, if everyone else is playing like cute little Feywild characters, and here I am, the tiefling who thoroughly enjoys his job in killing people, but is affable about it and just goes, "Hey, by the way, I got paid about 500 gold to kill each of your families. We're cool, right?" That'd be weird.
Okay, we just went right into a Tarantino movie.
Thank you, Orc from Mork. We're on the same team. I see you. Game, recognize game.
I think that this can also very much relate to advice for running games too. Like,
Right.
because you can also read the room and see what level of darkness you can go to within running games. Because the reason why that popped up, one of the characters that one of the players in my group has almost connected herself at the hip to is a war criminal who has killed over 1,500 people.
Oh, goodness.
But when the political regime changed, he was like, "Oh, it's not legal now? Okay, cool. Hey guys, what's up?" I turned myself in. Because he's completely lawful.
Interesting.
It's like, what was it? Strahd's little sister? Jeez.
Well, the base entry to get into the job that he had was to just eliminate any trace of family that you had.
Right.
So you had no connections.
Ooh-wee.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's dark right there.
Right?
Like,
But-
I wrote my... Go ahead.
But based off of the group that I had, I knew that they would hear that go, "Oh, that's heavy," but at the same time that they'd be fine with it.
Here's how
It's within the story.
Here's how I lightened up the assassin's character that I made. Because when I wrote him, I was like, Adam's family. That's what his family is. Like, his family is essentially Adam's family. We all enjoy watching it, but when you listen to what the Adams family is saying, they're horrible people. It's like, oh yeah, cousin, what's his face? He's an assassin. He's a killer that murdered like half the town. This person was a witch. They used to burn people over here. Like, that's what his background is. So it's very loving family that all does horrible things, and that's how I lightened it up for whenever it came up. It's like, yeah, my mom was a great mom. She's a necromancer who killed half a town, but she's great.
But she always turned off the beaters before she let me lick them.
She murdered half a town. Yeah, she loves me. That's how you sneak that into that to a like lighthearted campaign. But my mommy loves me.
If anyone has an issue with that, that's messed up.
It's like, oh, you don't like a mother's love? Maybe you're the problem here, Jared.
No, it's nice to know we can also have a therapy session here while we're at it. Help everybody work out their issues.
Right? Like,
Some of us here are qualified to help you with that.
I
but,
was
you
going to say. We might have to do a whole episode on that alone.
D&D is the therapy session.
Right?
It's too strong a force for good.
It's so true, though. Like, how many of us have worked out issues playing D&D? Or a TTRPG in general?
There are nights, talking about running, that you kind of gauge the room, and when it's obvious the room does not want to role play, then okay, all right, we're going to hack and slash tonight. Then
Yep.
let's just let's just flip open the monster manual and figure out a way to throw stuff in here. And you know what? I'll sort this campaign out later. Let's everybody work their aggressions out this week, and next week we'll get back to it.
Yeah.
And here's a group of mind flayers. Go at it.
Have fun.
Always wanted. Oh, okay. So you got, oh, you guys just want to fight. Everything I've done. All right, fine. Here's a Tarrasque. Deal with it.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
Figure it out.
everybody in the room's just like, nope, I'm out. I'm good, man. We can go right back to it.
Figure it out. Oh, you killed it. It'll be back.
I've got a carton of milk that I have to buy from the store. I'm definitely coming back.
Oh, hey, Dad.
Yeah. Where did Bob go? Bob took off to get the pizza for the group. Yeah, that was 3 hours ago.
Tarrasque's not too real.
Oh boy.
Now, at that point, if you're dropping a Tarrasque in the game, at that point, you basically just told everybody, pack their shit. We're going. It's time to go home because I'm done.
Orc from Mork just said in chat, D&D is a great vehicle for helping one improve one's social weaknesses to a certain degree.
Keywords at the end.
Yep, exactly. But you do hear about it being used more, like in schools as part of social emotional learning and, helping kids learn how to handle bullying or think outside the box or teamwork or things like that. You start hearing about that a bit more now.
When I was the teacher's assistant in a school about 13 years ago, we had a D&D club. It was a middle school, and half the kids in the club were kids that were in our special ed classes. So we had kids that were all over the autism spectrum that were in there, and kids who would have a lot of trouble reading the room, social cues, social interact. They role play like it was nobody's business, man. When you got them in there doing the game, socially appropriate to what was going on. They were interacting with other people. It was discussions, and so it's just like that was how we sold it every time, every year when we had to convince the principals to let us do it again. It's like, dude, come on, this is why.
Yeah, Goblin Cave TV just said in chat, it's good to learn safe risk taking and how to deal with loss, and then also social interactions and reading people. So
completely.
Yeah, I absolutely agree to that.
That actually made me think of a question to throw out to the group. Character-wise, has there been a character that you made that was a social risk of you trying to put something out there that you didn't know if you could play?
Yep. I played a perpetually pissed off werewolf once. It just so happened that the game was on Monday nights after I had to commute home from work for over an hour. So it worked really well in that regard because I could channel all of my Monday energy into her, and it was a totally healthy environment to get out all of my aggression and be like, I would constantly be reminding the other players, this is not directed at you. This is nothing to do with you. This is just me having a crappy Monday at work, but I wasn't sure if I could pull it off because, I was good friends with one of the people in the group, and I wasn't sure how they would respond to my character being so aggressive when that is very much outside of my day-to-day nature. So, yeah.
Biggest one for me was when I got back into the group that I'm in now. That was 22 years ago. I was trying to do something that was different from what everybody else was doing. So I played a female. I was playing a female fighter. And it's playing the character, but not staying away from stereotypes, staying away from the BS, and try to just play the essence of this character with the background. And as my buddy pointed out, because we were talking about revisiting those characters, because we haven't played that particular game in 14, 15 years. Talking about revisiting that character, my buddy goes, you were kind of playing Brianna Tarth before Brianna Tarth was really a visual thing. I'm like, think of it that way, because I hadn't read any George Martin, but so that was the one I wasn't sure I could pull off, and I'm still not completely convinced I pulled it off. I think he might have just been being nice, but that to me, that was the risk, to play the character and be genuine without being a walking stereotype.
And that was mine. Is the current character I'm playing, actually. They are a non-binary pansexual character, and I am a cis heterosexual man, and just trying not to play into any perceived stereotypes about either of those things, because at the end of the day, he's just a person. And that's how I pretty much tried. He's evil, but he's just a person.
Yeah.
just wants to conquer the world.
For me, exploring just gender. My second character that I ever made, Abracadaniel, used she/they pronouns, and that helped me like be more comfortable using they/them pronouns. When I was entertaining the idea that I was non-binary, and surprise, surprise, I am non-binary, and using that character really helped me just explore the idea in a safe way that wasn't, like telling friends and family and having to like deal with that backlash, potential backlash. Thankfully, good friends and family didn't have it when I came out in real life, but it was really nice to be able to do that, and I thank Abracadaniel for her service.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. And the name on that character is
Thank you.
up there with one of the best names I have heard.
No, best name. Okay, that's a question that I would love to hear all of y'all. Best character name that you've ever created after everyone has answered.
Ooh, okay, so I have a tie between two. One is because of the spelling, and one is just because the way it feels to say. So, in the game that I'm currently in, over on a different channel, Rectus, my first character that I played, it was a Kobold Ranger named Hugh. But it was spelled HH''UUO, but fully pronounced Hugh. And then the other one, let me see if I can follow into the accent again. A very drunk man named Bardoche Lefleur.
Say that again.
Bardoche Lefleur.
Bardoche Lefleur. Okay.
Yeah. A drunken healer whose magic I would not allow to deal any direct damage.
Amazing.
Mine is Krazir Bender Dracodandian. My gold Dragonborn Bard, who was actually my first character I ever created.
I'm lousy with names. I
am
really
too.
am. When I'm running and I'm creating names, every time I go to say the name, I have to kind of look up a little bit because I know I'm going to hear the snickers from my group. They'll be like, "Really? That's the name?" And be like, "Really? Shut up! A lightning bolt comes out of the sky. Your character's dead. Let's move on."
That's an actual spell. That's an actual spell. Screw that guy in particular is the homebrewed spell where
No,
that
no,
basically happens.
Right. Well, no, it's called you just ticked off God, aka the DM. Don't do that.
Yep.
Absolutely. For me, it was my French detective gelatinous cube named Jack Ooze.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh, amazing.
Did you
I
have a
only got
cousin
to
named
play him
Ivan?
once. It was so much fun.
That's so good.
Boy, I had glasses that just like absorbed into the gelatinous cube. Obviously, I had to keep getting new glasses, but it was fun.
And to answer your question, Mana, yes, that is who I played for Scry Society.
So good.
So many puns with Jess.
So
So I was
good.
gonna play a dog
It's
warlock.
fun.
It's just constantly me shaking my head at the puns while everyone else is laughing because I'm over it by this point.
I think me and Jess need to play in a game together because the puns would only increase.
Heyo, love to
I know.
hear it. Let's
And
do
I,
it.
and here's the thing:
Hell yeah.
I'll probably be there because I have to play this. I have to play the straight man to their chaos. There's always got to be someone that just stares at someone to just go, "Why?"
No, that tends to be me sitting in my position as the DM. Why?
I'm
banging my head off the table because I've got 7 of them that are just barely controlled chaos.
Just call me DM's pet then, because we're right there with each other.
All right. Well, we are probably at a great spot to stop for a break. There's still a few questions that we haven't gotten to yet, so we will get to those as soon as we come back. So if we haven't gotten to answer your question yet, we will get to it in just a few minutes. I am going to leave you all with a little ad that I was given to share a Kickstarter that our good friends over at Plot Hooks have going on right now. So please make sure to stick around, check that out, and if you haven't had a chance to check out their Kickstarter, please do so. It's going to be wildly, wildly fun. It is for Disaster Hamsters 2. And I highly suggest you check it out. There's a fantastic team working on it. So, give it a look. And we will see you in just a couple minutes after the break.
In a world where heroes stand tall,
what the heck is that supposed to mean?
Oh, sorry. Play as adorable hamsters in Disaster Hamsters 2, an epic TTRPG book designed for 5th edition.
It's more fun than you can stuff your cheeks with.
The book has 3 parts.
Ta-da!
Everything you'll need to play as a hamster in 5th edition.
Ta-da!
A whole sanctuary full of adorable sentient animals for your hamsters to explore.
Ta-da! Hold up! Adventure? I'm so confused. How am I even talking right now? I have so many questions!
The nefarious scientist Jerry Hilliot has perfected the process of creating sentient hamsters. Now, for a final test, he's dropped his experiments into the sanctuary to see how they fare. Not only must they survive, but they must also defeat the tyrannical kitty Snuggles to escape to freedom.
This is awesome!
We need your support for Disaster Hamsters 2 to happen. We'd love to have you on the team.
And we're back from break. Hope everybody enjoyed that Disaster Hamsters video. I think it's super good. The video's awesome. The game looks awesome. I'm super excited for them. So hopefully the Kickstarter continues to run strong, and everybody should go back it because Plot Hooks and team is awesome. So there you go. There's my 2 cents. And if you missed it and you would like to catch it again, there's a link to it in the YouTube video in there. The Kickstarter link is also posted in chat. I can grab that again for anybody who might want it at some point. It's also all over Twitter, so definitely give that a look if you get the chance. All right, let's dive back in with some questions. So the next one that we had actually came from Orc from Mork, and it kind of cracks me up because Dragon Age is one of my favorite games ever, video games ever. And Orc's question is, how clean do you like your PCs on a scale from 1, immaculate, to 10, Dragon Age blood covered?
Very. I have gone through intricate steps, like in a game, to describe how my character got clean, and looked up which, plants or what have you can be used as soap and deodorant. Jess was there.
It's true.
I'm also in another a podcast with Mana, who is currently watching in chat, where we play called Treasures Untold, where we each play as different literary characters, and I'm playing Marcus Black / Shadow Moon from American Gods, and my need to be clean has seeped into him as well, because one of the other characters we play with is basically a wild man from not the Jungle Book. That's not right. Jumanji. And he's a druid and is like basically a dirty hippie, and like was bringing animals and bugs into Marcus's apartment. It was just like, I need you to stop because I'm walking around with Raid right now, and it's freaking me out. And me as a player was like, I need this to not be described anymore because it's making me feel bad. So very, as you can see.
Yes.
I think it really depends on the different character. Like, I have a little goblin boy, Hiob. He's a demon slayer ranger. Like, he lives in the forest. Like, he's gonna clean himself every once in a while. But, you know, if he can't, it's not like the end of the world. Where, like, my first PC that I ever created, Jadriel, like, she wants to be clean.
Until she gets dirty.
She is a little bit of a horny bard, but she's not like that horny bard.
Okay.
Okay.
All versions of Jay, and I can attest to this, are extremely horny. There are two versions of Jay. I have one in my vampire game. Still horny.
Fine. Let's just move on to the next person.
Everybody
if you want
heard
to continue to explain, I'll give up my part of my time.
Two of the players saw the word vampire, were like, ooh, we can be as horny as we want. I'm like, come on.
Yes, but so I'm typically, it depends on the character. However, I have built a character around being clean.
Really?
Where I rolled for money, and what I bought I think 30 bars of soap, and at random points he would hand them to people who he did not think were clean.
Wow.
I can get behind that.
He came from a family that were like soap barons.
Oh my goodness.
I can get behind all of that. I agree. I agree with that character. That's a character for me.
If you want to play your character that'll piss off an entire farming town, that's who you play.
Oh.
Went to the mill, gave him soap. Gave soap to the bartender. Gave soap to the mayor. Soap was handed out to so many people.
I think for me, like the cleanliness thing came up when I was just thinking in terms of D&D. You are away from towns a lot, and you are more so than any other genre. Like if you went Western, okay, it's understandable how you probably went a few days without bathing. You're riding in the frontier, but you have magic and magical items and all these things. Someone has prestidigitation more than likely. You can clean yourselves, but it often never comes up. So I was just thinking to myself, realistically, y'all stink. And and I just said, you know what? Realistically, I'd probably find something to clean myself with. I'd find some plant to apply as deodorant, so I'm not walking around smelling bad. Then the next scene, I'm suddenly hitting on a barkeep. In my head, it doesn't work if I smell bad. It all leads into me trying to flirt with a fictitious barkeep.
My drunken character had a way around that, though. He didn't need to worry about it because he smelled like really bad alcohol the entire time.
You talk about the smelling good thing, though. Most of my games, we don't care, but for whatever reason, in this one particular game we were playing, somebody was complaining about somebody else stinking, and my buddy Scott, he pulled out the George Carlin line. He's like, just put a bay leaf under each pit. Not gonna necessarily smell clean, but at least you'll smell like soup.
I don't think I've ever thought about it with my characters.
I'm looking at Jess because I'm wondering if they know who George Carlin is.
I'm showing my age.
No, I know.
I'm there with you.
I'm what, 3 years older than you, Jess? You're 28. You're 28.
Now.
Huh?
Oh, kids, I'm 48.
Right? I just turned 40 in 2021.
Yeah, I'll be 49 in May. So okay, yeah.
Jeez, I turned 30 and my body started to give me signs of you're getting older.
Oh my God, no! Stop saying these things to me, y'all. Please.
Oh, that back's going. That back's getting out of here,
The
Jess.
back, the knees.
My knees are already gone. I had double ACL surgery in 2019 because my first surgeon messed it up. Actually, that's one of the few things about D&D that was super awesome. I was introduced to D&D literally a few weeks before I tore my ACL. So D&D was really there to support me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, my knee went when I was 18, so at least you waited. My knee was already gone before I graduated high school, so.
I actually, through the beauty of Facebook memories, realized that today was the 5-year anniversary of my ACL repair. So,
So it's the knees.
It's not a memory that I want to be reminded of.
Look, we're not supposed to be running as much as people think we are, okay?
I'm an old fat guy. If I'm running, rest assured you need to get your ass moving in whatever direction I'm heading. Okay?
if I'm running, then you better start running. Otherwise, I'm going to trip you.
This is exactly what I said. I work out 5 times a week. But if you see me just running somewhere, I'm in danger and so are you.
Whatever it is, I can't. Yeah. No, and here's the thing. I don't have to be the fastest person running. I just have to be faster than the slowest person running.
Yep.
Period.
And Jess, I'm a tripping your ass. I'm tripping you. I'm sorry.
Who invited this guy? Get him out of here.
I'm sorry. I'm a big target. I'm a big man. All right, you're small. I'm gonna have to trip you first chance I get because I know as soon as you get running, you're gonna outpace me.
It's true.
Really, what he's saying is should be a compliment.
You intimidate him. That's what he's saying.
You're small. You're small. Not really. You're small. You're small and fast.
Thanks.
I think Jez is just like, next!
Yep.
We've had this conversation before.
It's true, and this is not the last time we will.
We have discussed who's going to trip whom a lot.
Awesome. All right,
Okay.
Jim had another question for us. Jim would like to know, have you ever built a character or an NPC based on a movie or TV show and nobody caught on?
I did a Joe Pesci character one time, and I was nobody. I 3 hours, nobody got it. So, yeah.
Tragic.
Go ahead, Jess.
I think people got it, but I really enjoyed this character, so I'm gonna bring it up anyway. I played Ronaldo Mcdonald. He was a very tall and large red-headed man, wizard, who liked to supersize himself with the enlarge spell. He had a couple taverns named Macca's, and just was a stand-up guy, you know? Really, really cool. No clowning around there.
Did you have an Australian accent?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, I figured.
It was real fun.
All of my characters have a hint of something from somewhere that I watched. Like my Assassin's character, definitely, I got like the voice I got from Crowley from Supernatural. Portion of his background, even though it's a bad movie. Well, no, I based his background off of Hitman 47. In that he's not a good guy. He kills people for money, but he's the protagonist of the story. So there's I take a lot from pop culture, I think.
I once did a character that was based absolutely 100% on 1980s She-Ra. It lasted about 20 minutes.
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, I cannot maintain this. I'm sorry.
I've been influenced by music, but never, like, visual media. So the musical influence was the song She Talks to Angels. And that was my drunken healer character. So, level 1, human with Tavern Brawler, Divine Soul Sorcerer. He was in the military, but he left because he got kicked out for being drunk all the time. Because he doesn't want to talk to the angels trying to tell him to be a good person.
And that's how he literally drowns out the voices.
So, like, he spends most of his money on the cheapest alcohol possible. He smells of it all the time. Doesn't worry about hotel rooms. Can hit people very well, but none of his spells are allowed to do damage. I can give you a holy weapon, but I will never take a spell that directly deals damage.
Interesting.
That is an interesting character.
The ultimate almost pacifist.
Kind of.
So a character that I didn't create, but I played in a game at a convention a couple of years back, and the guy was literally playing his character like he was Dave Chappelle, but it was Dave Chappelle doing all of his impressions. And so after 15 minutes of Rick James, everybody at the table just looked at him and like, we hear Rick James, and the GM just looked at him and said, "Look, if I hear the word bitch come out of your mouth one more time, I'm smacking you off the chair." She was not impressed.
Woof.
One of those times where it's like, read the room, dude. Because the first time he did it, we all kind of looked at her, and she was just, it was that look of, okay, I'm gonna let one go. Then he did it again, and you take a look, and it's like, yeah. So after a few minutes of that, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna smack you off the chair. It's like, yep, okay, it's change impressions.
Woof. Justin reminded me with the music, I once did Char. She was a fire genasi, but it was based off of Cher, and I had like music. I had, so many extravagant details about, her dress and just everything like that. I kept saying, I wasn't understanding exactly what was going on with the party, and I would be like, oh yes, I'm pretending like I know what's going on, but I'm getting up there in my age, and so I'm not always with it, and nobody got it, and I was a little sad. I was just a little sad. Ugh.
Not everybody knows share like that.
I mean, I didn't either, I guess, until I did a deep dive in Google.
Did extensive research on share, and then you were the only one that got it.
Yeah. Look, I got a chuckle on the inside, and that's what counts.
My first character, Kraz, he was based off of, this is a deep cut, I'm going to say the Xena character, not the Hercules character, version of Ares, the actor Kevin Smith, as well as just Tim Curry in anything that Tim Curry's doing, because that's where I got a portion of his voice. Mostly Dr. Frankenfurter, because he's a bard and he actually does sing and perform. But as far as how he was built, it was Ares from Xena Warrior Princess, as well as his outfit. Just because I loved that depiction of, yes, I'm a war god, and he was a College of Swords bard, so he could fight. But also, I can have fun with it. I can tell a joke. I can do this, that, and the other. I can be entertaining. And those were the two definite sources of characters from TV and movie that I could say, like, just those two directly affected that character. I'm loving the Tim Curry love in the chat, by the way.
Right?
Well, Tim Curry is incredible.
Truly.
We need to wrap him in bubble wrap because we're losing too many celebrities. Just saw right before we went on the air, Bob Saget
Bob
died.
Saget.
Yep.
So like we're just losing them left and right. So yeah, find Tim Curry, wrap him in bubble wrap, and move on.
I mean, put like food into his hands and stuff too.
Well,
You know,
yeah.
I assume we're also putting him into a room and like putting security around it. You know,
Yeah, there's a few others we need to do that with, but he's certainly on that list.
Agreed.
Damn it! Sorry, I was looking up Bob Saget.
I know. Yeah, that was it's been a tough 3 that have gone already. So
Well, I mean, what's interesting is the other day after we saw about Sidney Poitier, buddy of mine said something about, well, maybe Betty White needed a date. I said, no, she was always more of a Morgan Freeman guy, and his response without missing a beat was, no, they can't have him yet. we're not finished with Morgan Freeman yet. They can't have him yet.
yeah,
Can't have old Morgan. Morgan Freeman's not done here yet.
Well, it would only be if God wanted somebody else to do his voice. And then I said, well, no, wouldn't that be James Earl Jones if he wanted to really mess with people? And they're like, can't have him either.
yeah.
Hey guys, like, calm down.
Right. Stop listing off people. Good God.
Shut up!
Let's talk people we don't like, I guess, right? That'd be next up.
Oh, let's not get into that here. That would be that could cause quite the controversy.
Oh, I had a list ready too before you just said.
I don't doubt we all probably did, but
Oh, no, I wouldn't actually go there, but yeah, because let's face it, we're gamers. We're on enough watch lists as it is. Let's not
true.
add to it.
it's true. I actually,
searches.
I will
Oh,
circle back
yeah.
to that, but there's other questions that we probably should answer first before I jump in with my own questions. So, Mandalorian had another question, which is a good one actually. Do you prefer one-shots or long-term campaigns?
but what I wouldn't do to be in more long-term campaigns. I have had so few long-term campaigns. I think the furthest I've made it is level 6.
Oh,
1 to 6.
Oh.
Yeah, I am a baby. But I also just started playing in 2019, so like I get a little bit of that, but yeah, I do love a good one shot. You know, that's great for exploration of like trying out a new class or a new subclass, but long-term campaigns I think are where it's at, because you start with probably, you know, your characters probably don't know each other, and then at the end, hopefully they've progressed and they've become best friends. Probably like some of the people at your table. So long term for me.
That's a real wholesome answer compared to mine. Long-term campaigns, only because it's more time to mess with people. Because every group has a certain way that it functions, and there's one person who every once in a while just throws a wrench in it. And in long-term campaigns, you figure out what all the best wrenches are, and then you can create great moments that way.
Okay, so note to self, Jess definitely in my campaign. Justin, we'll have to talk.
Hey, that's fine. You know what? In your game, I probably won't play if we're playing in Greyhawk, play a kobold riding a wolf spider.
Well, it would be
Just saying.
Forgotten Realms. That's my if I'm doing one of the pre-published campaign settings, it's Forgotten Realms. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. I won't make it so there has to be 20 minutes of me going, hey, can I store my spider in your barn?
God.
It's not a euphemism.
I'm a long-term campaign person. I like a good one shot as a palate cleanser from time to time, especially if look, man, I mean, we only play every 2 weeks, so theoretically in 2 weeks I should be able to come up with something. But if I'm having one of those just periods of time where nothing creative is coming, I am not opposed to just grabbing something off a DM's Guild or something out of a module. You know what? Or there have been nights I've just grabbed the monster manual, thrown some pre-generated characters out, and it's like we're playing Battle Bowl. Just we're having just a night. You need them sometimes. And you know, like games like Toon. Toon is perfect for a one-shot, one-night deal. A Toon campaign would be like, don't get me wrong, I love the Three Stooges, but a Toon campaign would be like Three Stooges 24/7, 365 for about 3 years. It would you'd burn out.
Yeah, I know that would be rough.
I'm long-term simply because, especially from a player side, when I create a character, I go deep on that background. Sometimes I'll throw something together for a one shot, but my preference is more long term because I like to set up stuff that could come to fruition and affect the entire group in some ways, depending on what I wrote in the background. Like, oh yeah, my dad's an angel, but he fell from grace, and maybe he blames me for his falling, so he might be coming after the whole group now. I like to write stuff like that. I'm saying that because that is also what's happening in the current campaign.
I was just about to say, Jess, you might want to listen to this.
I don't know. Another thing for me, I get really attached to like the characters that I create. I think in total, besides like NPCs, because I've written some not campaigns, but some one shots. But like I've probably only made like 12 altogether, and I get pretty attached to them. So like I'll take a character that I've played in one shot, and I'll play it in a different one shot. And if I could just find a campaign to play those one-shot characters in, that would make my heart fuzzy and happy.
I don't think you want a fuzzy heart. That sounds like a doctor.
You know what?
They make medication for that.
All right, you right. You win this one.
The old fuzzy heart, huh?
But I do empathize with you on that one because yeah, I mean wanting to play because there was a period of time where I had no group to play in, and it was pre-internet, so you didn't have the ability to just go online and find people to play with. So I did a lot of play by mail. That's how far back I go. Where look, if you don't know it, look it up. Play by mail. Where you would actually, you'd get your thing telling you what to do. Okay, you do your thing, you throw it in the mail, and then you got to wait for the USPS to do its thing. Yeah, that sucked.
Jess, I currently have 31 created characters.
Nope.
That face is priceless, Jess.
Gosh.
In fairness, I have about 30, but I have a campaign that I'm wrapping up, and I've started creating a Deadlands campaign that's going to run probably later this year after my buddy Jim jumps in. So I've just been doing a lot of prep across the board. So that's the only reason why I have that many.
Some of them are NPCs that I was just like, you're going to have a stat block because I feel like the group is going to mess with you. So yeah,
every NPC should have a stat block just because. Trust me, my group's the type that would shoot the piano player just because, he looked at him funny sometimes. What do you mean you won't play Smoke on the Water?
That'll probably happen in Deadlands.
Yep.
Love that game.
God don't play cards. But you better play that damn piano.
Going back to the question, I like both kind of, like people have said, there's a couple of different reasons. I like long-term campaigns for the character development, and getting to know my characters a little bit better. I like one-shots because, I get to try out new systems. I get to play with people I don't typically get to play with. Kind of all that type of stuff. So I think they both have their place, and I like doing both. So I'm excited. I'm in my home group finally started back up again a few weeks ago. So I'm excited to be back in that. But I've been doing a couple of one shots here and there, which is always really nice. So. Like you were saying, Wayne, it's kind of a nice palate cleanser now and then, so it's good. It's good. It's all good stuff.
I just realized there's a cat in your lap.
Yeah, Molly's just sitting right here on my desk. She actually has her own emote in my channel. Yeah, if you do !kitty, you can get a bunch of her emotes to come up. She likes to hang out with me on stream. So,
if my daughter's dog would fit in my lap, she'd be in my lap, but she's entirely too big, so she's on the floor.
Yeah, Molly used to like to try to come up and hang out on my desk before I had a desk that was big enough for her to actually sit here. But now I have a newer desk that is much deeper, and so there's plenty of room for her to sit right in front of me, between me and my microphone. And yet, surprisingly, my noise gate doesn't let her through when she starts purring, which is really surprising to me every time. But let's see. We had another question from Goblin Cave, and the question was, so we already answered part of this. So part of the question was, what system do you really want to play or run? But the other question the other part of the question was, what TTRPGs have you played or ran? Okay, Wayne, you don't get to answer this because the list would take us until tomorrow. So,
actually, well, yeah, let the others go. I'll fill in.
My list is short as well, Jess.
I have played Dungeons and Dragons, Crash Pandas, Powered by the Apocalypse, and Vampire the Masquerade. And that's it.
It's a good list.
Mine is shorter. Mine is just D&D and Vampire.
All right.
Actually, no. I played one other, but I can't remember the name of the damn system off the top of my head.
So, include their list in mine. I have played Werewolf the Apocalypse. I've played in Wicked Ones. I've been in Pathfinder, Numenera. I was in a mage game. Let me go through what else I have here. I did some testing for some. I don't know if it's out yet, but I was involved in a little bit of beta testing for Guts and Glory. I was going to be in a Traveler game. I've probably done a good 20 one-shots, if not more, of different systems that I don't remember what they were. I have played in a whole bunch.
You see,
the one I will throw out there that was real fun was the Street Fighter role-playing game.
Oh my god, that sounds fantastic.
The Street Fighter storytelling system, I think it was. Yeah, I ran a reprint of that with everything sort of consolidated. Boy, was that easy to break.
How many times did someone just yell out Hadouken for no reason?
Surprisingly, none of them, because I didn't make it Street Fighter. I made it Mortal Kombat.
Oh.
In a shame!
Yep.
So we'll just go for a bicycle kick.
Yep. I went back and I looked through the comics and stuff for like interesting characters because they were starting off low level, and I pulled like one of the ice ninjas. I can't remember the name of the clan right now, but one of them that wasn't Sub-Zero or Frost.
It's Lin Kuei, I believe, is where Sub-Zero comes from.
It is the Lin Kuei. So like, it was a dude who's just based around water.
Oh. Rain. So basically rain, but not rain.
rain, but not rain.
Got you.
Yeah.
So not a character made completely as a joke and then put into a video game.
I'm gonna see if I can find who that was. But no, that's my list. My list is, if you mention it, there's a good chance I've heard of it or played in it.
There's still one that I can't remember, but one I did for a podcast was just one. It's literally just called, the podcast is called One Shots. Was a game called Decaying Orbit, where there was no dice rolls. It was just all of us describing the last moments of this space station before it essentially floated into a star as everything began to shut down. And it was just all of us improving, and whatever the last person said, we would then base what we were going to do after that, and it all culminated into this cohesive story that maybe people survived, maybe they didn't, depending on who wanted to be horrible.
So before we jump, I just looked up the character. The character's name is Hydro. And they were clearly drawn in the 90s.
I feel like Hydro was also a breakdancer. That is such a breakdancer name, Hydro, and he does like flares and windmills, and like water just sprays off of his boots.
Yeah, he's a
I feel
ninja
like
with like 5 times as much muscles as should be humanly possible. Yeah.
I feel like I'd need to see Daryl have that as a character that he plays.
I think you want to see. I'm getting the feeling you want to see him LARP that, not just TTRPG. You want to see him LARP that. There you go.
No comment. All right.
Just a lot of there's no full breakdancing. It's just a lot of pop locking for me.
Works for me. Yeah, no, I mean my list. Yeah, I mean I played every version of D&D. The original, Deadlands, multiple versions of Star Wars, multiple versions of Star Trek, Shadowrun, Vampire, multiple editions of Vampire, Werewolf, and I've got so many other books on the shelves. I'm kind of in Justin's position. I've seen so many of them. I've heard of so many of them. So many I want to play, but yeah, I keep going back to the old standards and standbys for me. So, but yeah, I mean, you've been doing it for 40 years. You've seen a few. A few.
Right.
Yeah, I was trying to think as you guys were talking, and I'm starting to get to the point where I can't remember all of the systems that I've played. But like D&D 3.5, D&D 5, I played 5th edition when it was still D&D Next. So that was interesting. Pathfinder 1st edition, Aether and Steamworks, Fate Accelerated, Mothership, Quest RPG. I know I'm forgetting a bunch. And then there's a lot of like the little, like one-off, like stories that people have done, systems that people have done for, based in 5e or based in Pathfinder or something like that, which is, I couldn't even tell you how many of those are.
Yeah, just based off the OGL. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh crap, what was it? One of the Star Wars systems. Let's see, it was
West End was a D6, WotC was a D20, and I don't remember what the current one is, but
yeah, it was the D6 one.
Probably West End.
Yeah. So
Which is, in my opinion, a better system. It's a better game, but
it was
my
fun.
opinion.
That was a fun system.
Yeah, I think it's a better game. I think, the early 2000s after WotC went the D20 system for D&D, and everybody went ballistic and they had to change all of their stuff because we're going to be D20 because it's going to be the wave of the future. And after about 5 years, all of us just kind of went, WTF, man? Seriously, you had a good game with a good system and you jacked it up.
Yeah.
And everybody went, oh yeah, we're going to go back to doing what we're doing. And so many of the companies didn't, but now you're looking at like, Cubicle 7 and White Wolf and so many of the other companies are just going, yeah, let's just go back to, well, White Wolf never really changed, but they're all just kind of, let's go back to what we were doing and we were doing well and let's just do it right.
Yeah.
And that yeah. So I'm not a huge D20 fan if not giving it away here.
Yes,
White Wolf
Apache,
just
that
said,
was it. It
"We're
was
gonna-"
Fantasy Flight, the Fantasy Flight one. Star
There
Wars.
you go.
White Wolf was just like, yeah, we're just going to keep putting out different stories about the vampires we already established. Different system. Okay, we don't care about all that.
Yeah.
No. Well, the thing is, I mean, if you look at White Wolf over time, they have like any possible offshoot, vampire, werewolf, mage, mummy,
Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, you go back far enough, they've covered the entire flipping spectrum. That's where they got themselves, was just doing everything they could.
Right. Yeah, Mummy, Hunter, what was it?
Wraith.
Wraith. Yeah, you want to talk about being horrible to each other. That's the one. Wraith.
But Hunter, oh, I love me some Hunter. Don't ever get to play it. Love it though. It is when played with a group that cares and is paying attention and is role playing, can be beautiful. Right. Everybody's got to be in the mindset and going. Otherwise, it can be crap. But yeah.
And the Fae the Dreaming is the other one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Savage Worlds, that's another one that I've played. I've played that, and then I also played an adaptation of it where it was actually a cross of the Savage Worlds rule set with the lore from World of Darkness. So that was interesting. Yeah.
And as much as I like Shane Lacey Hensley and a lot of the stuff that he does, Savage Worlds it's starting to do one of those things where so many other companies now are kind of going, yeah, we're going to adapt our games to your rules, and it's like, bro, did we not learn from D20? You know, yeah, your games are good, your games are great. I'm playing the original version of Deadlands just again because I don't like D20 and I haven't played Savage Worlds yet. So.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps up all the questions that we've had, and it's probably a good time to go around and do reminders of where everybody can find you on social media and all of that stuff. So we're going to go in the reverse order from when we started. So Wayne, we're going to start with you this time. If you could just want to remind everybody who you are and what you do and where we can find you around the interwebs.
Sure. Okay, so I'm Wayne Davis. The podcast is Role Playing History. Find it anywhere you get your podcasts. Drop new episodes at midnight Central Time every Friday. At Role Playing P on Twitter. Just because if I'm going to do the podcast, might as well do it like that. Role Playing History podcast, YouTube, Facebook. I'm working on a TikTok, but I'm trying to catch up with the hip kid stuff, so we're not quite there yet, but we're working on it. So
awesome. Well, thank you for coming on and hanging out and talking about your experiences with us.
Love it.
Yeah, it was great. And we're gonna skip Steve the Baby Dragon because, as I said at the start, he's shy and doesn't talk very much. So we'll just let him play with his D20 over there. And Justin, we'll go to you.
Absolutely. I am Justin Mullen. I am over at One Bad Roll. You can find us on YouTube and Twitch under that same name. For Twitter, we had to run One Bad Roll 1, but split the difference, and I think you're covered. And we do all things tabletop RPG. Right now, we have 3 different games running. On Monday nights, we do Vampire the Masquerade, doing Toronto by Night, which is a Sabbat Anarch game dealing with Sabbat problems. Then we do a brief little midday sort of fun, light rules light game Tuesday at 11. And then Suncrest Chronicles, which is our ongoing D&D game, where there's a lot of grung problems going on right now. So stop by, check us out, and if you like it, bring a friend.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on tonight and hanging out for a little bit as well. It's great to get to meet you.
Absolutely, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime. Jess.
Hi friends, I'm Jess. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. All at Just the Human. It's just one S though, JES, and then the Human. I'm planning a charity stream in April for my channel. I'm very excited for that. You can also find me on the Fang Gang podcast that Daryl's probably going to be talking about here in like 30 seconds. I play Jay. She's a stand-up character that I love so much. And finally, you can also find me on the DMs Guild. I have written a couple murder mysteries that you and your party can take part in. And if you search Jess Wade, you will find all of my things, but my most popular one is Murder in Mossbank. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on and chatting tonight. It was very nice to have you. And Daryl.
Hello. I'm Daryl Dorsey. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Mr._Daryl Dorsey. You can find me here on Twitch at Daryl Sucks at Gaming, as well as Jess just pointed out, you can find the Fan Game podcast. First episode just went out last night. We're playing actual play Vampire the Masquerade, and I forgot to mention in our other session another podcast that I'm a part of, Treasure Untold podcast, which I just put into chat, where we all play literary characters from different books. So if you ever want to see freaking Stuart Little kicking around with Arya Stark, go ahead and tune in to our podcast.
Oh, that sounds fun.
As well as, and also thank you for having me on.
Yes, thank you. It's been a lot of fun getting to know all of you. These are all first-time guests onto the stream, so it's been a lot of fun getting to have some new faces and hear some new stories, which is always really nice. And I am Gamer Mom Luna. This has been Tales from the Tavern. We're just getting wrapped up a little bit, so we are here just about every Sunday night. I say just about because, occasionally there's a holiday or something like that. So we're coming back from a couple weeks off from the holidays, and we should be going strong right up until, sometime, when I'm like, I need a vacation. We got lots of stuff coming up this year, a few finalized things that I'm working on, but there will be an additional hour podcast version of Tales from the Tavern that's going to be launching hopefully very soon this year. Just working out some last minute details on that. The questions for that version, however, will only be open to Patreon supporters or Ko-fi supporters. So if you want to get in on being able to ask questions for that will be your way in. And then let's see, what else do we have going on? I am going to be in a one-shot that I mentioned, a Mouse Ritter one-shot coming up in a couple of weeks. That will be over on Todd Moonbouts' channel. If you missed the Mothership stream that I did with him a few weeks ago, that's available on YouTube, and I can get anybody the link that would like to check it out. But that was a lot of fun. Space, sci-fi, horror. I spent the entire second half of the stream I don't think I breathed. So it was a lot of fun. I think that's about all the news that I have right now. Check out the Kickstarter from our friends over at Plot Hooks if you haven't had the chance to do that yet. I've been sharing it on Twitter, so definitely check that out if you haven't yet. It is well worth it, I promise. Daryl, I'm going to drop your link in the chat right now for you. So there you go. So that's Daryl's other podcast if you were looking for the link for that one too. So we are going to go share some raid love. Let's see who is around that we would like to go check out. Let me see real quick. I saw somebody go online that I wanted to go raid. I just need to make sure they're still online. Yes, they are. We are going to go show some love to Midwest Miniature Guy. So if you are not familiar with him, he is exactly what he sounds like, and he paints minis. And I know from his Twitter that he is painting the Millennium Falcon tonight. So that should be a lot of fun to check out. Thank you so much for that sub, Orc. I appreciate you. And so we're going to go over there. We're going to say hi to Midwest Miniature Guy, show him some love, drop him a follow if you're interested in mini painting. He is phenomenal at it, so definitely check him out. And we will see you all next Sunday night when we're back here again at 8 p.m. Have a great evening, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Tales from the Tavern. You can catch this podcast recorded live every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific at twitch.tv/GamerMomLuna. All of our questions come directly from chat, so we never really know what to expect when we go live. If you ever have a question or would like to add something to the conversation, feel free to reach out on Twitter at GamerMomLuna and use the hashtag TFTT. You may just get to hear it answered. Thanks so much.